Hi, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be talking about batteries. Well, why? For the past 2 weeks, a lot of my friends has been calling me about their batteries, and because of the season, most of our batteries will die at this time. Well, to prove it's right, my truck's battery is also dead. I could have prevented it, but I'll tell you why it died. So the topic will be how to test your battery, how to prevent your battery from dying, and what are the reasons your battery dies. To test your battery, first let's test the standing voltage. The standing voltage should be about 12.6 up to 12.45. It shouldn't go down 12.4. Second is, we need to do the crank test. For the crank test or the load test, we need to put the multimeter while we're cranking the engine. Some would suggest to kill your pump, remove the fuse, or shut down your ignition system, but you can just do it repeatedly. So the goal is for you to see that the battery doesn't go below 10. The most lowest, 9.8 maybe. And then while we're checking the battery, you might as well check the alternator. So when we are running the engine, it should be above 13.7, 14.7, and it shouldn't be lower than that. Of course, whenever you put load, like your headlight, your radio, your anything, your AC, the voltage will go down. But that's why it shouldn't go down below 13.1. If your reading is within those ranges, and then there's nothing wrong with your battery and your alternator. So first thing you have to do is to put your multimeter to DC and make sure that your cable is on the right port. All you have to do is to put the red lid on the positive and the black lid on the negative. So my battery is 12.6. So that's my standing voltage. So voltage is good. Now let's do the crank test. So to test the crank test, we will ask someone to start the engine, and then we will closely look at the reading. So there you go, that was 11. So off. So did you saw it's just above 10 volts, so the battery is good. Now for some, they said to remove your pump or your ignition. So this is your engine. Let's remove the fuse for that. Either this, fuel pump, or ignition. That will work, because when you crank your engine, it will not start. So let's see. Josh will crank the engine for 10 seconds and check if the voltage will go down less than 10. Okay, Josh, turn the key, crank for 10 seconds. Count it, huh? Okay, 1, 2, 3, go. Okay, that's enough. So you see, the voltage just went from 10 and 11, so the battery is good. Then let's check the alternator. So if you can see, it's 13.9, and that's a healthy alternator, and that's with the AC on. Turn on the headlight. see, that's a very healthy alternator. Hey Josh, turn it off. So that applies to any car, whether it will be the Pajero, the truck, or even the bike. So now let's talk about why your battery dies. Battery dies because of sulfation. It's the buildup of sulfation is sulfur, I guess, in your battery when one is keeping your battery for a long period of time below 12.4. Second is overcharging. Third is evaporation of the fluid. Now, as I've mentioned that the battery of the truck died, it was my fault because, well, I left the truck unattended for almost 21 days, and I forgot that the battery was below 12.4. If you check a video about, I think it was about solar panel, if I remember, the battery was 12.08. So if your battery is 12.4, make sure to have it charged so it will be topped up to its optimum voltage. Now, what is sulfation? This powdery part, this powdery thing that builds up on our terminal. Now, it doesn't only build up on the terminals, it also builds up inside. Let's see if, let me get the flashlight. So that is sulfation. So that gray part between the plates. So let me see a healthy. This appears a little better, but there is still sulfation. But compared to this one, the sulfation is really thick. Now be careful with this because they are acid. So don't get it on your skin because it will burn your skin. Yeah, all of them are sulfated. So aside from having sulfation, you will have a dead cell. Let's turn on black on negative, red on positive. Let's see if we will see any dead cell. Now, dead cells will be obvious if you look at the cells. If it's dead, then bubbles will appear. I guess none of my cells are dead. Only problem is sulfation. You see the very left and the very right, they're very sulfated. So the reason for this to happen on this battery is because of keeping it undercharged for a very long time. And let me show you one of the battery of the bike. Now with the bike, what happened? So if you can see what happened to the battery of the bike, it's dry. So the fluid actually has evaporated. The reason for that is there's two possibilities. One is overcharging, and two is just hot in this country. Especially motorbikes, because the battery is actually just beside the engine. As compared to the car, most of the time the battery is a little bit away from the engine, so they are really exposed to high temperature. So this battery is most of the time on trickle charge, 14 ampere hours, but then 14 ampere hours, a very old 14 ampere hours will probably just hold 12 ampere hours, because because of sulfation. Now my charger will trickle charge a 14 ampere hours. When it was charging the battery, it might have been sensing that it is not yet full, so instead of setting itself to trickle charge, it was charging the battery. So that made the battery hot and evaporated the fluid. So when you're charging your batteries, key point is to have it attended as often as possible, so you can touch the battery if it's hot, or if it's staying on a level, because the battery charger has levels. See, 0 something percent, 50%, 75%, and 100%. If it's staying at 75 for a long time, then it's probably staying too much on that stage. It might overheat the batteries and evaporate the fluid. So how to keep your battery live longer? I would say monitor the voltage. If it's below 12.45, then have it charged. If you're charging it yourself, even if it's a maintenance free, make sure to check the fluid levels. Fluid levels should be, it should cover the plates to the bottom of the plastic. This one, the second one. They're all actually low. See? So that could be also one of the reasons why the battery died. So even me, who is knowledgeable, still tend to neglect these things. So but I'm very attentive to my AGM. My AGM is about, because they're expensive. So it's one of the batteries that I often check. It's been 7 years and it's still rocking. So I hope to do it with all of my cars, but unfortunately sometimes I just forget. And this, maybe it's on its 3rd year. So that's it. Hope you like this, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Peace. So it is bubbling. So that means the second to the left is a bad cell. Be careful with this. If it's bubbling, they are flammable.